I am one who is very direct in my language and my communication. So blunt, one could say. And that used to get me in a lot of difficulty socially when I was in junior high and high school. I have memories of social friction because of that. But I have found that this directness of communication and language is not something that many people find easy, specifically when setting boundaries. So one of the things that I observe why people struggle with this so much in my observation of people, and studying that. So one of the things I've noticed, the main thing I've noticed is the where it goes wrong for so many people. And we hear this a lot. People say, she doesn't respect my boundaries, or he doesn't respect my boundaries. So with that language alone, pay attention. You're putting, with that statement, she doesn't respect my boundaries, you're putting the responsibility on the other person to respect your boundaries. That's the wrong course of action. A boundary is something that you, the one who is setting the boundary, the onus is on you to do the action of, in this case, enforcing the boundary. So the thing that people get wrong about this is that they have this expectation of action or inaction of the other person. And that's why so many boundaries get violated and they get disrespected, is because the person who is setting the boundary is the one who has the responsibility to enact and enforce the boundary. In other words, adhere to their own boundary, not putting the onus on the other person, because the other person is going to do or not do whatever they please. People will do whatever they want. For a boundary to be effective, actually the other person need not do or not do anything, okay? So let that land. For a boundary to be effective, it isn't reliant on the other person's action or inaction. It depends on you to do something with clarity and definition and definitive action coming from you, the setter of the boundary. Adherence is everything. A routine or a protocol or a boundary without adherence or compliance is meaningless. It's worthless. It doesn't hold its weight and it's unfruitful. So you, the one who is setting the boundary, must adhere. We teach others how to treat us, not the other way around. So you're literally, if you violate your own boundary by not enforcing it firmly, with directness and boldness, if you violate your own boundary, you're doing two things. You're lying to yourself, so you're breaking a promise that you've made to yourself. You're breaking that vow, that boundary. You're kind of saying, it's okay, like just this once, right? Or just, it's okay. People do that a lot, is they excuse the other person's behavior. And in doing so, you break the vow that you've made to yourself in setting the boundary in the first place. So that's the first violation. And the second thing is that you are teaching people to disrespect you. And I said this in my previous video about boundaries, is that it comes down to self-respect. If you don't respect yourself, if you are willing to lie and break that bond that you have with your own self, and you break your promises to yourself, then you will not be able to firmly set boundaries with other people in any effective way, because you are constantly going to move the goalposts to excuse others' behaviors. And again, that is not, the onus is not on the other person to behave in a certain way, to follow your boundary. It's up to you to follow your boundary. That sends a signal, a message to the other person involved that their behavior, regardless of what it is, it's not going to be accepted by you, full stop. So they will see by your demonstration of your boundary adherence, they will see that, okay, this person means business. They mean what they say, they follow through. What they say matches what they do, and they not only talk the talk, but they walk the walk. For instance, if you set a boundary with your mother-in-law and you say, it really bothers me when you drop by unannounced. So now your mother-in-law understands that what she's doing is creating friction. But if, for instance, she violates that boundary and she shows up unannounced, unless you don't let her in the house and you enforce your boundary, she will repeatedly violate that boundary, and then she will get the understanding that this person is waffling, that they don't really have any firm boundaries for themselves, that she can just do as she pleases. So it actually has little to do, if anything, with the other person or people involved in the boundary setting. It comes down to you, and it comes down to the respect that you have for yourself. That's why I keep going back to this. Self-respect, self-esteem, confidence. Confidence, at least in my opinion, and for me, the root of my confidence is belief in myself, truth-telling, telling the truth, period, without exception. So that goes for myself. Charity begins at home. It starts with the self, not lying to myself, but it also projects outward. So I'm not going to lie to other people, lie to the public, lie to my friends and family. Start there. Start by telling the truth in yourself, with yourself, but also in your interactions with other people. Just tell the truth. It simplifies things, it simplifies life, and it's a direct, straightforward course of action, a way to live peacefully. Because that's one way you can diminish avoidable stress, is by just telling the truth. I think that people go about this in a completely wrong way. They have a completely distorted expectation of others when it starts with yourself. It starts, like many things, it starts with yourself. So examine the boundaries that you set and see where you are flaking out on enforcing them and breaking the boundary. Because again, boundaries are parameters that are up to the person setting them to uphold and enforce accordingly. They are not the other person's responsibility. For boundaries to be effective, the other person need not do anything. It's up to you to do the thing. Clarity of language, firmness, and being direct, that goes a long way. So try that and let me know how you do. I wish you the best of luck, and I thank you as always for watching.